All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast, where we talk about everything in the world of sports this week. And our two teams played terribly this week, so we're not going to start with our two teams. We're going to start with the Cardinals, and they have a decision to make. Kyler's been out because he tore his ACL or whatever last year. Right now, they are the number 2 draft selection, which is a very good draft selection and a very good quarterback-heavy draft. So the question is, do they play Kyler and lose that 2 draft pick, or do they not play Kyler? And then I'm assuming eventually trade him and then keep the 2 spot or the 3 spot, or if the Panthers learn how to play football, maybe even the 1 spot. Brother Bill, I'm going to start with you. If you're the Cardinals, what do you do?
I always struggle with taking a season just for the sake of trying to get a draft pick in the draft, because even that pick isn't a guarantee. So I think you play the team that gives you the best chance to win each week. And I don't know that Kyler Murray is the better quarterback than Josh. I always forget his name. Than the others. The young guy. So go ahead.
Dobbs.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Cardinals, I play who's going to give me best chance to win every week. Because again, the draft, how many times do you see, depending on what the draft looks like, especially if it's a quarterback,
Our team.
It just doesn't always pan out. So I say, you don't play Kyler Murray or not play him just because you're looking to draft. It's who do you think is going to win? To me, Dobbs. From what I've seen of how he's played, gives them a better chance to win each week than Kyler Murray.
Deacon Greg, thoughts?
I don't know how he could see that. Bill, I see you don't have your glasses on. They're 1-5, right? So they evidently he hasn't given them much of a chance to win. And that's just a joke, Bill. Don't get all, I see you getting all intense right now.
No, go ahead, my brother. You got the floor.
So really, no, but seriously, back to I say well, the talk is that they're gonna bring Kyler Murray back slowly. He just started practicing, he got on the field, he took some first team reps and stuff last week. They're gonna bring him back slowly, projecting November 14th, as a projected date. But you have to play him, because I was just looking at his contract. He's he signed a 5-year deal. He has 5 years and 182 million left on a 230 million deal. So you have to, and you have to play him to see where to evaluate him. Or is he going to be your future, or are you going to go for that draft pick? Because if he's no good anyway, then you're going to get that high draft pick, and if he pans out, if he's good, then you can go in a different direction, try to fill some other holes. So they have to play him to even, and if he plays well, that increases his trade status. Right now, they couldn't get rid of him if they wanted to, but not with that contract. So I think they have no choice but to bring him back slowly and then evaluate him from that point going forward.
Yeah, I think they're definitely in a tough spot, because, and it's almost like they did something kind of weird. It's almost like they give him this, he's demanding this huge contract early. They give him this enormous contract early, right after he basically took a dive in the playoffs. So he's like, he wouldn't get, I mean, he was horrific in that game. And they gave him this massive contract. And then almost like right after they signed the contract, they start putting these little stipulations in it. It's like they regretted it as soon as they did it. So I don't know is the owner pushing it? Did the GM push it? Did the coach push it? And now you're at a place where Kyler is 100% a quality. If we're just in like a single lane, he's a quality quarterback. He's got a great arm. He's super mobile. He's accurate. He is a horrific leader. So unless something insane has happened, you're paying all this money to a guy that got Larry Fitzgerald to stop playing, that got JJ Watt to retire a little bit earlier than he was going to, because he saw the leadership in the team. And it's just, I don't know. It's like, what's the balance between talent and leadership? Because he's not a leader to me. And I think because he's young, I think that opens up a trade market for him. Granted, you couldn't do it right now. You would have to sit him for the rest of the year and then trade him in the offseason because nobody has any cap room now anyways. But then what does that do to your locker room? If you're telling your locker room, it's October, we don't care about this season at all. So it's a super tough situation. And I think you could get some draft picks for him anyways, and then you'll still have a relatively high pick, like a top 10 pick. I'm glad I'm not a Cardinals fan because I don't know what to do, but I would lean towards letting him go just because of the leadership stuff. He's a little dude, he's gonna get hurt, but just the leadership stuff, it just doesn't. When you have to put in clauses about watching film, and he sounds like a very, very talented like Johnny Manziel. Like he's really talented, but he's not watching any film, and he's just not like you need a leader. You need
He's not
dude.
a Johnny Manziel. Come on, you can't compare
No,
those.
no. And as far as prep, I think he's way more talented than him. He's obviously a better thrower. He's faster. All of those. He's what Johnny
No,
Manziel.
I'm even talking about Johnny Manziel he had some problems way off the field and more than Kyler Murray has. So.
Okay, so Kyler Murray's not an alcoholic. All right, maybe it was a wrong example, but just leadership wise, he's not. To me, he's not a leader. And if you don't have a leader,
Joe, but I have a problem with that when you say not a leader. You bring a young kid into a situation that's a dumpster fire already. That team, the Cardinals, have been trash for years, and they got so many other problems. How are you going to bring a young kid in and tell him, "Hey, be a leader on this"?
Burrow,
huh?
Burrow.
They're all pros. Everybody out there is a pro.
No,
they're all
Burrow.
pros.
Burrow did it.
Oh,
no. What I'm saying is I know Burrow he's a unique talent, but once you see it done, you can't unsee it. And the Bengals are a bigger dumpster fire than the Cardinals. I mean, this is two of the biggest dumpster fires like in football the last 30 years. But Burrow came in and that whole franchise changed.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said with Kyler Murray when you talk about there's talent athletically, but then the leadership is the intangible. That's how it goes more than making players around you better. I mean, that different sports means different things. Obviously, you can't really help the defense, right? If you're an offensive player, but the preparation outside of the game, I think that's what Joe is speaking to. So for Kyler Murray, if you have issues being a professional off the field, that's going to show itself on the field when you're playing.
Yeah.
And what instance did he have off the field that was unprofessional?
If he's not studying, if he's not looking at film, I mean, those are things to put that in a contract clause. If I'm the owner, I'm like, oh, that's a problem. That's like me and my job, my senior director having to reiterate things that I should be doing from day one.
And he had DeAndre Hopkins.
I knew that when I took the job.
And DeAndre Hopkins he's an eraser because DeAndre Hopkins can play. I mean, I think he's over past over the hill, but DeAndre Hopkins you could just throw it to him and he's going to catch it. He's going to get 11 catches a day, 12 catches a game, and Kyler doesn't have that anymore. And if you're not prepped, I mean, I think people kind of were able to prep for him better and better because he's preparing the same, which is not much, and they're kind of seeing what he's able to do and kind of corral him a little bit. And granted, it's like it is so much money. I mean, the Broncos, what are the Broncos going to do? But at least Kyler's young. I mean, you could move Kyler to. I mean, some teams I don't know if they would go for the contract, but the Packers don't have a quarterback.
The Raiders don't have a quarterback.
Raiders don't have a quarterback either, and they have a fantastic wide receiver who could use a little dude sling him the ball down the field. That would be...
You're going to get your quarterback back next week, aren't you?
He'll get hurt again. He'll get hurt again.
Bill sounds a little distorted. I can't really understand what he's saying.
I thought the Raiders injured quarterback is coming back next week.
I'm not answering any questions.
No comment. All right. So, well, actually, moving to the Raiders. That was surprising. Surprising in one sense. I don't know if that's because the Raiders suck or does the Bears offense work better with a different quarterback than Justin Fields? because the guy, I can't even think of his name. He looked like he was running the offense with less kind of ad lib stuff that Fields is doing. And maybe this is the Bears' real offense with a quarterback that runs it better, as opposed to not so much the Raiders defense, which is hard when you don't know what the offense you're playing is going to do. But I didn't watch the whole game in its entirety, obviously, because it was the morning game. But Deacon Hill, thoughts on that game and where your team's at?
Well, I came home and I had taped it and I watched it yesterday. I watched it yesterday, and you know the Raiders just don't have an identity. They don't have on offense specifically. They don't have an identity. They don't have a quarterback. They're playing they done played 3 quarterbacks this season so far, and none of them are the answer. Jimmy Garoppolo, he gives them the best chance to win, but he's not the answer. And if it was me, I would just go with the rookie from here on out, just to see where he's at, to see what you have, because they're not going anywhere. You know, they're a mediocre team. The offense has no identity. The defense can hang around. When that final score wasn't really indicative of that whole game. There was a pick 6 in there, and the defense hung around for a long time. They got a lot of 3 and outs. They hung in there, and that score was kind of low. And in the end, it kind of got, ended up being 30-12. They got some last quarter scores and stuff like that. So I look at the overall game. First of all, I look at the all on social media and all this and that. But if you actually look at the game and see what happens in the game, I don't think Josh McDaniel is the coach for that team. I think he could probably get up out of there too, and because he owns that team. Everybody, those are his players that he brought all those guys in there, and he can't do nothing with them. So, but I think the main problem is our quarterback. If they can solve that problem and get some type of identity, what they want to do on offense, they'll be much better, going down the road. I would be interested in like we were talking about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, that was another quarterback I was thinking about that the Raiders could look at. But they need to find a quarterback, and I would go with the rookie. And the Raiders got their work cut out for them for the rest of the season. The defense will hang around. Offense ain't gonna get you much with either of those quarterbacks, unless we can see what the rookie can do. But I'm not
so
looking.
When you hear people breaking down the Raiders' issues on offense, at least, are they talking about, like, are there plays there that they're just not hitting? Or is it the play design's weak? Or
I think me and my friend that's a lifetime Raider fan also, we were talking about this coach supposed to be this guru, play caller. His plays are so basic, fundamental plays. You can sit here and just call them yourself. They're gonna do this. He has no innovation in his plays. And they say this is a copycat league. I see all these teams doing all these innovative things. The Niners, I'd be sitting there looking at, and I'm gonna get that play, and I'm gonna try to incorporate it in my offense. We run the same basic, 5 and out. Telling my wife, a 5 and out. We learned the 5 and out in junior high. That's the first route you learn, and that's what they run: a 5 and out, 5 and in, blah. Just so basic, bland offense, and no innovation to it. So I think that's why I think Josh probably needs to go also, because the team it's just real flat. The offense is flat. It has no trickery to it or anything like that. So that's the main problem I see. On defense, we get a decent pass. You're always going to get what's our Max Crosby. He's going to always bring it. He got that motor. He's coming 100 miles an hour every game, every play. The rookie, matter of fact, our rookie Trey what's his name? Wilson, our number 4 overall draft pick, or wherever we got him. He played. It was his best game. He's stat wise. He finally got a sack. He finally, got some pressures and some hits and things like that. So he's coming along slowly, but that's all right. And I look at our secondary. What's his name? Peters, Marcus Peters. He cannot tackle.
24.
Number 24.
Did you do the Olay? He Olayed that guy.
They said he need to get rid of that 24 jersey. We need to take that off of him. That's for standout Raiders. Legendary Raiders. And he covers decent, but I tell my wife, he's not making a a business decision. He's making a career decision. He's like, I'm not getting my career ended on.
He's worse than
on
Dion
that.
was. Dion used to Olay people and stuff too. Like he'd either get the ball or he wasn't hitting anybody.
Yeah. But Peters is that's just too, that's too blatant. You got to do, So yeah, he ain't our defense. And we ain't gonna get into your defense yet, but yeah, we gave up a lot of run plays. So, you were talking about Chicago. I would take Justin Fields. That's the other quarterback I was thinking about. You guys, if Chicago want to go with that rookie guy that they had yesterday, the Raiders will take Justin Fields.
He may be available.
He would have tore the Raiders up worse than that if they had that Field. That game was Chicago. They hadn't won a home game, and I don't know when. So yeah, that game was there to be taken, and that rookie did all right. But yeah, Justin Fields would have chewed the Raiders up way worse than that. We'll take them, and that's my take on the Raiders.
Brother Bill, did you see Raiders stuff and thoughts on?
Nope, didn't watch the play. I was surprised that looking at the stat line that Josh Jacobs didn't get more touches. I've been saying it all season. Not so much whether or not they can win with him, but I believe that the Raiders will definitely lose if he's not a bigger part of the offense.
What ends up happening, Bill, is they get behind the sticks. They'll run him on first down. He'll lose a yard, or he'll get, and then now they're passing the ball.
Did you guys lose offensive linemen in the offseason? I feel like you guys could run well last year, and your defense was the problem, and now you guys can't run, and your offense is the problem.
Well, it's the offensive line is a problem. It's and more so in the run blocking also. I don't know if it's just they're not in sync, and I think all them when you get all these rotating quarterbacks in there, there's no continuity in there. All that timing got to be there. The signal calling, the counts and all that stuff. They get so when you bring in all these different quarterbacks, that throws everything off. But the offensive line is a problem, especially the run blocking.
Yeah, and I think you can bring something that's key too. When you become predictable as an offense, because defensive coordinators are sharp. I mean, they're good at what they do. Most are. I mean, and so when okay, this team, this is their tendency. They're going to run on first down. We're going to set our defense that, and so there's nothing on the early downs to keep the defense off balance. And then you're in third and longs, and we'll talk about that when we get to the Niners game. But anyways, yeah. So in short, yeah, the reason why I say get in the ball, even if it's out in space, just getting to me, if you get 4 yards a play in the NFL, you have a chance to win the game because that means you're always moving the sticks.
I was looking at a stat. They were saying he's the first running back to lead the league in rushing since 1973. To come back, he's not even averaging 3 yards a carry, like 2.9 or something like that. And that hasn't happened since 1973.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I think it's time to get to the Niners game. And all of a sudden, we don't have a defense anymore. I don't know. My gut is telling me that our defensive issue is similar to the Raiders' offensive issue, where it's vanilla and people are able to just pick. I mean, we have two teams that don't pick apart defenses, picking apart our defense. The Vikings, I don't know how they only scored 22 points. They look like they scored 45 points on us last night. They punted the ball for the first time in the fourth quarter. The offense, those last two plays with Purdy, the timing, whatever, and then the last play is bad. Our defense sucks, and I don't know what's going on. Brother Bill, please talk me off the ledge.
Okay, you see if I can sum up two ways. The lines was where the game was won and lost for both teams. You had a feeling what Minnesota's tendency was, and that was pressure, right? Frequent blitz packages, Brian Flores, and you knew that going in. But what losing Trent Williams and the Niners' inability to control line of scrimmage running the ball eventually made them one-dimensional, and that played into the Vikings' hands to bring pressure on Brock to play tight coverage. No Trent Williams, no Deebo Samuel, who was a key part of that offense. When the Niners would line Deebo up in the backfield, 7 times out of 10, he was getting at least 5 yards a play. Period. Going way back to the 2020-21 season. No Debo, no Trent Williams. McCaffrey, and I think you touched on it, Joe, didn't look like he was 100%. So offensively, the 49ers became limited. Defensively, while last week it was Cleveland who was able to run the ball on the Niners, a front seven, the way we hadn't expected, the fact that the 49ers defensive line could not get any pressure all game.
Zero.
That's what was surprising to me. And it will be interesting to see whether or not that was just an anomaly last night or if that becomes a repeating trend. Because if they can't get pressure and they have to start blitz, what irked me about the game was that cover zero blitz at the end of the first half. To me, that was inexcusable because it was the risk reward, and the Niners got burned because of it. And so I think the things they have to fix in a hurry is their defensive line. They've got to find a way to get pressure without having to blitz and exposing their corners,
which is what they've done for the last 5. Which is what they've done the last 5 years. When they have a better defensive line now than they did last year.
Right, and so they've got to figure that out for next week and the rest of the season. And the other thing they're going to have to try to solve is until Debo gets back, because I heard he could be out not just up through the bye, but depending on the extent of the shoulder injury, it could be as many as 4 weeks. The kicking, field goal kicking, Moody, I'll give him hand pass. He missed a 40-yarder. Here we go again. Made the 50-yarder. The Niners, their margin of error has gotten smaller with the injuries that they have. And so each game, they just need to be crisp on execution. I haven't talked about Brock Purdy because I don't believe he's the problem with the offense. It doesn't help when he makes poor decisions, and that's what I didn't expect to see late in the game. But it was a desperation throw, and that's that. So he showed it. His rookie showed in that last drive. Again, they just have to fix all the problems leading up to that I just talked about. And they'll be competitive in every game, whether they'll win or not, because they have a tough schedule coming. All the teams that they're going to play are going to be ready for them. The press is out. The Niners are Super Bowl favorites, so they have to raise their level of intensity to match whoever they're going to play every week.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't understand when McCaffrey's obviously not doing what you want him to do as a running back, and this is my issue with Kyle, and I can't figure out what, even after all these years, I can't figure out exactly what my issues with Kyle is. And I think the biggest thing is his he doesn't in-game adjust. It's almost like he's like, I know this, I've watched the tape, I've prepped the thing, and even though it's not working yet, it will eventually work. And the passing game I thought was working really well in the first half, and we're not thrown to Ayuk all the time, and we're not. We're running McCaffrey instead of like rolling him out and passing to him and getting him in space like we do with Debo and letting him kind of do his thing. Instead, we're running him into a wall, like that one, like the whatever the end around was he did, and he lost like 3 yards. It's like you couldn't see that before. Like they're obviously on to the running game for whatever reason, and I don't understand why we just stick with the running game then.
Yeah, well, I think and they talked about on the radio this morning what happened to Brandon Ayuk in the second half. Well, if you know that someone is your opponent WR1, you say, okay, first thing we got to do in the passing game is take them away. So they made the adjustments, but then Kittle started getting more touches in the second half. So I think Niners offensively, they still, just like the Cleveland game, still had an opportunity to win the game. But those little plays, the fumble on McCaffrey on the Niners' first drive after they got the interception, no points there. The Moody missed field goal. So again, the margin of error has just gotten smaller now. So you have to execute throughout the game because you're only going to get so many chances now against these better teams' defenses.
Yeah, Deacon Hill, you're not emotionally involved in this. Tell me, give me your
Yeah,
thoughts.
he is. He doesn't want to see the Niners play for the Super Bowl.
First, I want to correct Bill on one statement he made. He made a statement that you guys are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. I would beg to differ that right now.
Not now, yeah.
No, I didn't say the favorites. I said the media is talking about the Niners being favorites.
Well, you're not. Okay, we're going to get past that because, take that chip off you, whatever. Like I said, we got the doors back to normal size now. You guys can fit in the buildings now. We don't have to worry about them big heads running around in there no more. So, but yeah, you guys, you guys kill me with your coach always criticizing that coach. That coach is playing. He's a good coach if you ask me. I like him, but you guys, you want to say, well, how come he don't game plan or he doesn't? He game plans for what he came in the game with. He came in there to run McCaffrey. McCaffrey been running all season. He been running all last season. Why would he stop running him now? That's what got you guys there. If you take McCaffrey out of your offense is not going anywhere.
But
So
only,
you gotta
but
try
only because we use them all the time. Like we don't even try to not use them all the time, which is
Okay, don't use him all the time. Then who are you going to use? Mitchell? What did he do? He's not doing. I'm telling you guys, you got to see if it works. That's what he's trying. Your coach is trying to see if this works. That play, usually McCaffrey takes that play, that little stream, that play, that sweep play that you're talking about. He usually takes that thing for 15 yards.
Yeah.
I was telling Bill, McCaffrey, look, he's injured. He's not. He ain't got that burst. You know, this is what, week 7. Everybody's a little bit banged up. He ain't got that burst like
he literally
he had.
has a tear in his oblique. I mean, he's literally playing with a tear.
Yeah, exactly. So he don't have that burst. But the coach, you can't blame the coach for if the players say I'm ready. The coach is going to see if he's ready. I'm going to call the play that you usually work with for you.
So okay. So I think my point of view is the frustration is that his label as a coach is as a offensive genius. And my thing is I watch other teams that lose players and adjust and do stuff well, and we don't seem to. My concern is the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. It's not
okay.
Now.
What do you think
It's
about that play? What do you think about that play when he hit him out there in the flats and he took it to the house? Was that what kind of play was that?
It was a good play.
That's what I'm saying. So
like
you
that
have
play.
to take all of
I like
that. That's
that
what
play.
he does. He calling plays.
Yeah.
That some of them work, some of them don't.
Yeah, like I said, I think that the challenge is going to be, like I said, look at the schedule, looking at when the Niners were scoring 30 points a game in the first 5 games, especially against the Dallas Cowboys defense, it was wow. Okay, got a team that can compete with, let's say, the Eagles, right? Last 2 games against better defenses, guys banged up. Now, again, back to reality, right? And so, like I say, you have to get past, find a way to beat Cincinnati, get to the bye, see what happens after the bye, because then you got Jacksonville, then you've got some tougher teams, defenses to face. So you got to make sure you can fix your offense and getting Trent Williams back, getting back to running the ball. But then if we can't fix that defense, then none of that's going to matter offensively. I'm most concerned about our defense than I am our offense.
Yeah, we're
Your
facing the
defense
Bengals.
is a surprise. Your defense, it looks like the Raiders defense on the run defense, they are just gashing you guys for big runs. So
I can wrap my head around our offense having a problem last week against the Browns. Browns are an amazing defense. I totally get that. Their offense is not an amazing offense, and they were gashing us. The Vikings are not good at anything, and we were moving the ball okay with them in the air. Like we were in the game, but their offense is, they're like 40% or 35% on third downs for the season. They were like 75% last night.
Yeah.
I mean, the running game, Kirk Cousins looked like freaking Joe Montana against the Bengals. It's like, what defense am I like? Wilkes is obviously a downgrade. And granted, the Niners, maybe they started hot, and the Niners don't usually start hot. They usually kind of build up and then are kind of going towards the end of the year. So maybe this is just kind of a little reset. And maybe it's just, we just came off of 2 phenomenal defensive coordinators, and this is a more kind of a normal defensive coordinator.
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, it gives Steve Wilkes, like I said, I'm critical of a couple of plays. What I mentioned just before the half, the cover 0 blitz, feast or famine, you got burned, right? But I think looking at where we lost control of the game was the fact that the Vikings were 8 for 13 on third down. And third down is your money down on defense.
Because our front four aren't doing nothing.
Defense could not get Kirk Cousins off the field.
And our bread and butter on defense has been just manhandling immobile quarterbacks. And Kirk Cousins is as immobile of a quarterback as you can get. And we couldn't do anything against him last night.
What's up with Bosa? What do you guys?
Bosa was being chipped. I was listening to Peter King was talking about this morning on the radio. When teams, which I would do, right? How do you slow down an edge rusher? not just with your outside tackle, but chip him. And they were chipping it with Hawkinson, so Hawkinson would chip him, and then he'd go out run his regular route. So he would chip Bosa just enough to kind of take him off his stride so he couldn't get to Cousins. And then he was getting open. He was beating either Fred Warner or the times that Dre Greenlaw would cover him. So that's what I think you're going to see more from offenses, is find ways to slow down that pass rush. So I don't know if I didn't see whether or not we ran any stunts, because that's where we've also been successful in getting pressure on the
I
quarterback.
didn't see any.
I didn't see any.
Yeah,
So,
see, I think part of the issue is I think we're running a very vanilla call
defense.
hike run forward, and it's like he's banking on the blitz to pick up this instead of the let's call hike. We're calling hike and we're switching around and we're doing all this crazy stuff. And I don't know, just there's tape. Call the plays that D'Amico called last year. Just call those plays because they worked awesome. They all looked. I mean, our line is better than it was last year, and is playing way worse than it was last year.
We'll see. Let's see. Why is a coincidence? 3 is a trend. Let's see if this becomes a trend now. 3 games in a row where our defense gets gashed.
Well, now we're playing, but this is the problem. Now we're playing a real offense.
Well,
Like we've played not real offenses, and they've torn us up. And we're playing a like a legit Super Bowl potential offense on Sunday.
I think Cleveland was I don't know if that was a misnomer. I mean, they turned out to have a better run game than we expected.
Because it's a backup running game, backup running back,
But that line is the same. I mean, and we saw that even early in the season when they lost them early in the season. That old line is still the same. So like again, on to the Bengals, get to the bye, regroup after the bye.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about
What?
I had at the start of the season. I said there are 2 games I circled: the Cowboys at home, take care of that, and then I had the Eagles rematch circled. I'm not. Yeah, to your credit, Greg, I'm not going to look ahead. And again, I am going to follow what's going on in the division because number one, he's got to win your division.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to look ahead and see.
Yeah, I don't see that big board behind you. That used to have your big board back.
I'm wondering, did we, and Bosa kind of alluded to this a little bit in the post-game press conference. I feel like we started smelling ourselves after that Cowboys game, which
That's what I'm. Yeah,
which,
you guys
which
did.
I did. I was smelling myself before the game, and after we manhandled them, I was like,
yeah, impressive.
I wondered if they just kept doing that.
But yeah, coach has got to get them ready to say, you know what, guys, now we've lost 2. We got to get to 6-2 at the bye. Focus on the next game. That's it. That's all. No talk about Philadelphia. Nothing else. Just focus on the next opponent. That's it.
Please, defense play like
I'm not even going to talk about you guys' quarterback. We're just going to leave that one alone.
We can talk about it next Tuesday. How's that?
Yeah.
All right.
We literally, that's all our time.
What?
We had 2. See, I'm telling you, we lose, and we.
Greg wants to say he's average. I say above average. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, the big thing is, so you have a quarterback. You go, okay, can he play? And you're like, cool, he can play. And then you go, well, can he play under pressure? Can he play with the blitzes? And you go, okay, if he, yes or no, we don't know that yet.
Can he play with a wet ball?
Can he play with a wet ball? Right? No. I think that has a lot to do with his elbow, because I don't think he can grip the ball as well as he would if his elbow was totally healed. But then so there's all these different phases of like, do you have a real quarterback? And we're in the, can he play in big games and stuff? Because he looked okay. I mean, he was in the playoffs last year and looked okay. I mean, he wasn't like phenomenal, but he looked okay.
We had all weapons, and quarterback's best friend is a running game. Take that running game away,
but
then it gets tougher.
And you take out those last 2 drives. I mean, he played a good game considering how poorly he played last week.
That's my
And
point.
the first interception, I think even if if Jennings went inside, he still would have thrown that pick, because where he threw that, because Jennings supposedly went around and he's supposed to go under. And even if he went under, he was so far off. I don't know if he would have gotten it. And the last play was just a complete, like there's 30 seconds left. They have to get 25 yards down the field. That one's not as bad to me, but the first one was, especially with 5 minutes left when you had not great.
Yeah.
Not great. But all right. So hopefully both our teams win and we have less to
Who the Raiders play?
dissect. Yeah, who do you guys play?
They got the Lions on Monday night. And Joe, I did check. You could take that chair back. If you got your receipt, they say you could take your Super Bowl chair. You can take it. They'll return it.
It's still good. It's still good.
Keep the receipt.
Well, I will admit, last night it was last night I'm watching, going, how are we gonna do this against All we do this against the Eagles. I was like, this is not what I'm.
The season is a sprint, is a marathon, not a sprint.
There you go. It is. It's a lot more games to be played. So we'll see.
Yeah, see if Wilkes is the dude. See if our kick. Like, I don't want any game to be within 3 points because that
Me
kid,
neither, but
he's got a big fat leg. But man, 40 yards and under is not so great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I will. We'll see you.
I'll
Next
see you
week.
Sunday.
I'll see you Sunday. All right.
Yep.
You guys.
No, I won't. Yeah, I will. Yeah, because I'm going to game afterwards. Okay.
Nice. All right. Thanks.
All right,
guys.
brothers.